Episode 4 of College Football Imperialism is here. This is what the map looks like. We're going to get straight into it and spin the wheel. We have 82 teams remaining, and the first team that will play in this episode will be Western Kentucky or Wisconsin. It'll be the Wisconsin Badgers with the first game of this episode. Wisconsin has expanded once. They went south and they beat Northwestern. There are a handful of teams they could play. But I think they're going to play Central Michigan right here. If we go almost directly north from the logo, it hits the Upper Peninsula, which CMU currently holds. So our first game will be Wisconsin at Central Michigan. My controller will work. Come on now, here we go. Wisconsin and CMU. Badgers come in at a pretty good 86 overall. Central Michigan, they're the Chippewas. They come in at a 74 overall. They were not great this past season, but frankly, neither was Wisconsin. Although they play at very different levels, and they compete against very different competition. Wisconsin offense is a 90 overall compared to Central Michigan's 70. A huge difference there. But the defenses are actually kind of close. A 4 overall advantage on the defensive side for Wisconsin. Central Michigan has a couple good DBs and a pretty solid linebacker. And then Whiskey has I think it's Brandon. Brandon or Bailey. Bailey? I don't know. Their running backs are always super good, and so is their offensive line. Anyway, here we go.
Along the Chippewa River in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, the battlefield for
Kelly Short Stadium here. This game was made so long ago, literally a decade. So I don't know if Central Michigan has upgraded their stadium or not. Even if they haven't, I think it still looks pretty nice, at least from the game. Wisconsin, oh, it's actually tied. Now Whiskey holds a 14-point lead over the Chippewas. It's 28-14. A Wisconsin field goal extends their lead. They score another touchdown there. 38-14 Wisconsin. Central Michigan scores a touchdown near the end of the game, but the Badgers get out of there with an 18-point victory on the road. And they do win their second game of this series. And they expand into Michigan. I can just get rid of some of these borders right here. Yeah. Looking pretty good for Wisconsin. Looking pretty good. Pretty good, chunk of the Midwest, I guess, for them. The next team, well, we'll leave Wisconsin on here, and Central Michigan is eliminated. 81 to go. The next team, we're gonna find out who will play. USC, UNLV. It'll be the UNLV Rebels. Will be their first time playing. They could play a couple of different teams. They're surrounded almost exclusively by Power 5s, except the northern border is controlled by Boise. But it doesn't look like they're gonna play Boise. They're gonna head sort of northeast, and they're gonna go play at Colorado. So that's interesting. We've seen Colorado play how many times? Twice? I think twice. So we'll see them play one more time. UNLV at Colorado. Buffaloes are an 84 overall, and the Rebels are a 79. The offenses for both teams are pretty close in overall, but the Colorado defense is much better, at least in this game. I feel like UNLV played pretty solid this last year. They played Kansas in their bowl game, and I think KU won. It was the Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
5,334 feet above sea level at Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado. And now we bring you the coin toss, and it's presented by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
Oh my gosh, my controller is freaking out again. I keep having this problem. I use a Xbox Series X controller, and it feels like after a couple months of using it, I use a USB-C to link it to my computer, which is how I run this. After a couple months of using a cord, it just starts to not work. It just does not take the input, I guess. UNLV up 9-0 now. We're in the third quarter. Colorado does take their lead back after scoring 2 touchdowns. UNLV kicks a field goal, I think. Well, they're up by 10 points. 2 minutes to go. 1 minute. No minutes. And the Rebels have pulled off an upset here. 23-13 UNLV. That is quite impressive, I must say. Sort of rambled about my controller more than the game, but that's a pretty big win for UNLV. They take out Colorado, and they gain a sizable portion of Utah and the state of Colorado. So a very, very good game from them. Beat them by 10 points, so it wasn't even all that close. They are now one of the larger teams, or one of the teams with the larger land mass out west, along with Arizona State and Boise State. Yeah, did not really see that happening. But down go the Buffaloes. 80 teams remain. We're gonna see maybe UNC, North Carolina, or Northern Illinois. It'll be North Carolina here. So we've seen them play a couple of times. They've taken down Coastal, I think Wake, and NC State. Let me center their logo a little bit. There. The arrow is going northwest. And from their logo, from their logo is that, I have no clue who that is. Let's see. It's either App State or Virginia Tech. I think it's Virginia Tech. I honestly have no clue. If we put it in the center of their logo, sort of right there, I think it's going to be Virginia Tech. Yeah. We're going to go with the Hokies. So it'll be UNC in Blacksburg playing Vautech. Could be an interesting game. Tar Heels are an 88 overall. And the Hokies are a... Where are they? They're a 83 overall. So a 5 overall advantage for the Tar Heels. But it's usually a pretty good environment in Blacksburg. We'll see how this goes. Vautech's offense is just bad. In comparison to UNC's offense, but they have Drake May. Their defenses are pretty comparable. Drake May, 86, 86 overall, and Tez Walker. Oh my goodness. My controller stopped working again. Here we go.
We've got a pigskin feast coming your way from Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia.
I don't think these two teams have a real rivalry. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course. But I'm sure there's at least some hatred or something between the two, as they are conference opponents. And I think they're division opponents, but again, I might be wrong. North Carolina holds a 3-point lead here in the third quarter, 17-14. Now in the fourth quarter, not much happening in the scoring department right now, and that score will actually hold all through the second half. 17-14, and North Carolina pulls off a W. So very close game. The first game of the whole series, we saw Virginia Tech take down Old Dominion. But now they get defeated by UNC. Very, very strange looking territory for North Carolina. Played a lot of games, and they've won all of them. Just weird shape. Map looks pretty good right now. Not a lot of action in the Northwest. Not a lot of action in Florida, or really this Tennessee, Northern Georgia area. We'll see. We'll see. I'm sure we'll find someone from one of those areas that'll play in this episode. Vautech is defeated though. 79 teams remain. I don't know how many episodes this series is going to be. I'm trying to do 12-ish games per episode. So we'll see. And I might try to record some more episodes, so I'm not doing them every 3 days and instead every other day. Either way, UVA is the next team that is selected by the wheel. They're in sort of a corner. They could go south and play North Carolina. They could go north and play Navy or maybe Maryland. Or they could go east and play James Madison. At first glance, I think they're going to play North Carolina. As we zoom in, who'd they take out? They beat someone, didn't they? Maybe they didn't. This just looks like a weird area. I don't know. Maybe they didn't beat anyone yet. We zoom in super close on their logo. This arrow does look like it's going to hit North Carolina. So I think we're going to have UVA play at UNC. Another North Carolina game. They just have all of the games right now. It's difficult to win them all, though. Sorry if you can hear my dogs barking. Where is UNC? There they are. So this is a real rivalry. The South's oldest rivalry. It's called North Carolina with a 9 overall advantage. UVA's offense is atrocious, but their defense is actually kind of solid.
You gotta love it, folks. Two rival schools getting ready to go at it. It doesn't get any better than this.
UVA will start with the ball. They do nothing on the first possession. They do score before UNC does, so they lead 7-0. North Carolina scores a touchdown to tie it up at 7-all. At halftime, the score is 7-7. Now in the third quarter, North Carolina scores once, 7 points. UVA trying to get on the board again. They do, 14-all. No time left. We're in overtime, and UNC wins it in overtime by 6 points. Wow. So another North Carolina win. They take out both of the Power 5 Virginia schools in back-to-back games. And they're kind of dominating the Southeast. So we'll spread this Tar Heel blue a little bit farther north. And it's kind of interesting to see, because they are a high overall team who could really beat almost anybody. And as we've seen, they have beaten every team they played. But by playing more games, they've opened up their borders to play, well, where more teams have the possibility to play them. And by playing more games, North Carolina is in more danger. So we'll see. We'll see if this method backfires or not. UVA will be removed from the wheel. 78 teams to go. The next team to play, South Carolina. It might be South Carolina. Yeah, it will be. Could we see North Carolina play in back-to-back-to-back games? South Carolina could either play UNC, UAB, Georgia State, or Clemson. They're not going to play North Carolina. They will instead go south. I believe that means they play UAB. Yeah, I'm definitely going to give that to UAB. Yeah. The only reason UAB has this territory is because they pulled off a crazy upset over FSU in a wild series of events. Not discrediting their win at all, but their one big win has gotten them here. We'll see if they can hold on against South Carolina. They will have the home field advantage. I'm not sure if that means a lot, but, you know, every little bit helps. South Carolina an 84 overall and UAB a 77 overall. Defenses are pretty close in overall, but South Carolina's offense is much better than the Blazers' offense. Here we go. Alright, now, that took a long time. Anyway, can I not get through this? Controller's causing some real problems.
This coin toss presented by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
I didn't know that Kai Kroger was a captain. He won, I believe, no way. Okay. I need to get a new USB-C cord. I didn't know Kai Kroger was a captain. I believe he won the right guy award. I think he's their punter. It's either punter or kicker. I'm pretty sure he's their punter. South Carolina leads 3-0. Now 10-0. End of the first quarter almost. Halftime score is 10-7. Now UAB scores a touchdown to take a 4-point lead over the Gamecocks. 14-10 in the fourth quarter. South Carolina with a touchdown and a field goal. Now a 3-point lead after UAB scores. But they aren't able to do enough. So South Carolina gets a 3-point win in Birmingham. 24-21. In a very close game. But the Gamecocks are able to do it. And take down the Blazers. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think I will. I'm just gonna go over the edges of this UAB. No. the edges of this territory over here, just so we can make sure everything's looking nice. I don't have any problems with like the autofill. Do not need this expanding to the Atlantic Ocean, or the Gulf of Mexico. There we go. That should be pretty good for a while. There. Okay. South Carolina is now the largest team in the Southeast in terms of land territory. But they have now opened themselves up to play a lot of teams. Anyway, there we go. South Carolina, the historic, incredibly dominating team. Just kidding. Anyway, they expand. UAB, where are they? UAB. There they are. Blazers are eliminated. 77 teams to go. The next team will be Mizzou or Navy or maybe Nebraska. It will be Navy. Navy is in sort of a weird spot. Their logo, I had to make it super small because it wouldn't fit anywhere else on here. So they could play Boston College or Maryland or maybe North Carolina. This is one thing I don't understand about Virginia, is that they have this tiny little part of the, I think it's called the Delaware Peninsula. They have that tiny little part, and I don't know why. Like, just give it to Delaware or Maryland, either one. Anyway, where is Navy going? Navy is going to the Northeast. They're going to play Boston College. Pretty clearly, I think. Now, Delaware is here. If the arrow pointed a little bit farther to the east and less northeast, they would have just taken Delaware and we wouldn't have a game to play, but we will have Navy at Boston College. Navy might be the worst team in the whole game. Sorry. Sorry, Navy. But they come in at a 67 overall and a 67 offense and a 70 overall defense. Boston College, much better than Navy. So we'll see who wins this one. Literally anything can happen. We've seen it before. Boston College has a pretty good defensive end. I have never heard of him. Ezirukai. Interesting, I guess. Navy is... Okay, this is the most Navy thing ever. Their fullback is our highest overall player. Fofana is an 81 overall. That's awesome.
We're 6 miles from downtown Boston in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, the site of today's exciting matchup.
The midshipmen will get the ball after the end of the first half. Boston College goes up 3-0 early, now 10-0 in the second quarter. Now 17-0, 24-0. Navy puts up 8. They go for the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. Still 24-8. Now 24-11, 31-11, 38-11, and that will be the final score. Boston College gets a very easy win at home. They take out Navy. I was almost going to replace Boston College with Navy's colors, but that would have been a mistake. There we go. So they just expand to the south a little bit. I'm sure I could give them Delaware, but that might affect some other things later. So they won't automatically claim Delaware, even though Delaware has no one else to play, or no other team can take Delaware right now. We're gonna leave Delaware. Anyway, Boston College, Syracuse, and Maryland are the top teams in the Northeast. Very strange. Very strange. We can now remove Navy from the wheel. We'll have 76 teams remaining. Next team that will play will be maybe Arkansas. Yeah, it'll be Arkansas. They have not played at all in this whole series. They're down here. They border A&M, OU, Tulsa, Mizzou, Arkansas State, and ULM. So they could play anyone, pretty much. They're just going to go ahead and play Arkansas State. Try to get them out of the way, I think. U of A at ASU. Razorbacks go into that game as an 88 overall, and the Red Wolves will be a 79 overall. I do really like Arkansas State's quarterback. I forget his name, but I do think he's pretty good. He was a true freshman, I think, this year. He was pretty impressive. He's not one of their top 3 players. But I saw some of his stat lines, and they were all really good. Rocket Sanders, Chris Paul, both of those guys are transferring out of Arkansas. It'll be a pretty different Arkansas team, I think, next year. They're kind of trying to get Sam Pittman fired, I think. But, you know, he's done a lot for them, I think. I actually don't know. I don't watch that much Arkansas football. I'm not a fan of Arkansas. I kind of hate Arkansas. So maybe State's gonna win this game. 7-0 Razorbacks, now 14-0. That score holds. Oh, nope. Arkansas State scores a touchdown right before halftime. Arky continues to put points on the board, and it looks like they're gonna get out of here with a pretty big win. 38. Yeah, Arkansas wins 38-20. 18-point win for the Hogs. Something I've kind of noticed doing this. Can we go back? There we go. So yeah, something I've kind of noticed is there are so many teams, there are so many colleges that use this red, light red or dark red. It's like, it feels like there are just so many, especially in the Southeast. They get a little bit cooler out in the West, in the Rust Belt. But in the Southeast, it's like all sort of kind of ugly dark red. Anyway, the Razorbacks take hold of their state. They'll keep all the Walmarts to themselves. And Arky State will get eliminated. 75 teams to go. 75. Rice, maybe. Rice or SJSU. It'll be San Jose State. Okay. We've seen them play how many times? I think they just played Stanford. Yeah, I think they've just played Stanford. They could either play Cal or USC or Boise. They could play Boise. They're not going to play Boise. The arrow pointed towards the ocean. They can't play the ocean, so had to respin it. They're going north, northwest. That'll take them up to Berkeley to play the Cal Golden Bears. SJSU. 79 overall for the Spartans. Cal, I don't think Cal's much better. No, wow, they are. Cal is an 88 overall with an 86 offense and a 90 overall defense. What? Cal was awful. Wait. Hold on, didn't they make a bowl? I have to check now. I feel like they made a bowl game. Here, I'm gonna pull that up on my phone. Um, some pretty good players for both teams, I guess. I'm gonna skip
With a
that.
capacity of almost 75,000, we're in Memorial Stadium in Berkeley, California. And now we bring you
Yeah,
the
Cal
coin
went
toss,
6
and
and
it's
7,
presented
so
by
they weren't
Nissan.
awful.
Innovation that excites.
Their bowl was against Texas Tech in the Independence Bowl. Okay. Yeah, I felt like remembering seeing them in a bowl game. This high overall of a team, though? Really? Anyway, they have an opportunity to do something cool. They play SJSU. I don't think this is a rivalry. They're up 13-0. Now 13-7, 16-7 at half. SJSU with a touchdown, Cal with a touchdown, 23-14. 29-14, we're in the fourth quarter. San Jose State with a touchdown, Cal a couple late scores, and this final score will be 38-20, California. I feel like we've seen this final score a couple of times already in this video. 38-20. There will only be one golden or yellow colored team in Northern California, and it will be the Bears of Cal Berkeley. I don't feel like I usually see only the Power 5 California teams in their state for imperialism maps. So that's interesting. Actually, all down the West Coast, no G5 schools. That's interesting. What about the East Coast? No, we have ECU on the East Coast. Just something interesting, I guess. SJSU removed from the wheel after they took down Stanford. Couldn't get out of that Bay Area. Next team to play will be Ooh La La, University of Louisiana Lafayette. Yes, it will. So we'll have a team from Louisiana play. They can either play U of H, ULM, or LSU. ULM, they've been playing pretty well. They beat Southern Miss and Louisiana Tech. But University of Louisiana is going to play. I think they can play Houston off this. Yeah, I think that works. Louisiana at Houston. Kind of cool. Who is Cal's quarterback? Sam Jackson. I feel like I've heard that name. He threw for 350 yards. That's pretty good. Anyway, we have Louisiana at Houston. The Raging Cajuns are playing the Cougars. Houston is an 83 overall. Louisiana is a 74 overall. I just bumped the microphone. Now I've seen this Houston Stadium in the game, and I know it's renovated. I think it might even be a completely new stadium at a TDECU, which is kind of funny because when they played East Carolina in the American Conference at home, TDECU, Touchdown East Carolina University, was the name of the stadium. something I thought was weird. East Carolina scoring touchdowns, being the name of Houston Stadium. Anyway, that was weird. Here we go. Louisiana 3-0. Now, Houston up by 4. Louisiana up by 3. Another Raging Cajun touchdown, but the Cougs get one of their own, and they take a 1-point lead. Now a 10-point lead after a couple scores. 30-20 now, Houston. 37-20, Houston. And that'll be the final score. Cougars win. It was almost 38-20 again. We were one, I think it was missed extra point away from it being 38-20 again. Houston is the first team from Texas to leave Texas, just going a little bit to the east and taking out Louisiana. Houston, I have no idea how Houston's really going to do in the Big 12. I think there definitely is an opportunity for them to flourish. It's a sort of regional conference. I mean, they'll be in there with Baylor and Tech and TCU. But they're not really at the level, at least in football, to be super competitive right now. And I really wish they were. I kind of like Houston. I root for Houston when I watch them. I think getting rid of Dana Holstein was a good move. They're gonna bring in Willie Fritz from Tulane. I think he could do good things at Houston, make them good again in a significantly weaker Big 12. I kind of hope he does, because that would be cool to see Houston be good. Anyway, the wheel spin landed on Pittsburgh. Pitt is up here. They took out Kent State. I already spun the arrow. They're going to go almost directly east, and they'll play Maryland in a game that has some pretty big territorial, I don't know, meaning, I guess. Maryland and Pitt. Pitt is an 86 overall, and Maryland is an 84 overall. The offenses are almost the same, but Pitt has a good defense. Both have good defenses. Pitt has a better defense. Top players, we're looking at a linebacker from Maryland, a left tackle, and a tight end. I don't know any of them. And then Pitt's kicker, their running back, and one of their receivers. Pretty cool. This game is at Maryland Stadium. Kind of funny. Kind of funny stadium.
Innovation that excites.
The reason it's kind of a funny stadium is because you have one side that is normal. It's one level with all the press boxes and suites and stuff. Then on the other side, it's like 3 decks stacked on top of each other, with nothing on either side of the decks. Pitt is up by 12 right now in the 4th quarter. Maryland making a comeback, down by 5. Pitt with a touchdown, 8-point lead for the Panthers. Maryland could not get in the end zone there at the end. Let's see, what do those final plays look like? Oh, it looks like it was just a run out of time deal. Maybe it was 4th down. Because Tua, they were going. Or not Tua, Talia. Talia's Tagovailoa. 2 incomplete passes, and then a completion for 9 yards. They just couldn't get in the end zone. They would have had to score on that play and the 2-point conversion to tie it. So a pretty good game there in the end, but the Panthers get the victory, and they take down Maryland, and they get all their territory, which is pretty impressive. Because Maryland beat Buffalo and Penn State. Penn State was the big win, but they also took down Buffalo. That is how their territory got so big. We can now remove these funky Maryland borders. There we go. It looks a lot better. Gonna blow this Pitt logo up pretty big. Now they might have the largest territory in the Northeast. Maybe. So now it's Syracuse, Pitt, and BC in the Northeast. North Carolina, pretty big, just south of them. To the west, it's Western Kentucky. South Carolina, pretty dominating. Pretty. They're doing well. They're doing well in the Southeast. Out west, the biggest team is Arizona State, with Boise State being up there as well. Iowa State, Missouri, and Nebraska all having 2 territories. I would say wins, but Iowa State took out South Dakota without playing a game. Pretty fun little map so far. Pitt will stay on the wheel, and Maryland will be eliminated. We have played 10 games so far. Gonna do 2 more, maybe 3. Maybe 3. The next team up is Iowa State, I think, unless JMU takes it. Nope, it will be Iowa State. So they are over here. They could play Mizzou, Nebraska, or Minnesota, or just take a territory, or maybe Wyoming. All depends on where this spinner arrow goes. It's gonna go southwest, and from this Iowa State logo, it's gonna hit Nebraska. So we'll have the Cyclones playing at Nebraska. Wow, these two teams are almost exactly the same. Both are 79 overall, both have a 77 overall offense, and both have an 82 overall defense. Wow. I think it would be pretty cool if Nebraska just got up and left the Big Ten to join the Big 12. It would be actually cool if they did that. Them and Iowa just leaving the Big Ten to go to the Big 12. That would be cool, super cool. Get some of those old rivalries back, I think. Although Iowa's been in the Big Ten like forever. And their only like non-conference rival is Iowa State, and they play every year. So I mean, there would be no benefits for Iowa, but Nebraska would become more competitive. No score so far. Now a touchdown by Iowa State and a field goal and another score. 16-0 Iowa State right now. Now 23-0. We're in the 4th quarter and it is a blowout. Nebraska with a touchdown and 2-point conversion. But 23-8 is the final score. Cyclones dominate in this game. And they will stay on the map. Something that Nebraska cannot say. And they take down not only Nebraska, but all of Kansas State's territory. Because Nebraska took down K-State in the last episode. So a really big win for the Cyclones. Now they are by far, I think, the largest team in the Midwest, if you can call Iowa the Midwest. Midwest slash Central, they're by far the largest team in that region. Pretty cool. Iowa State will stay on here, and Nebraska will go. So I think we'll just play this last game here. Maybe one more. We'll see. We'll see. We have Arizona State. They will play. Who are they going to play? They played a lot, actually, and they've won all their games. They could play someone like Tech or UNLV. They could even play Iowa State. They are not going to play either of those teams. It looks like they're going to play UNLV. Yeah, they're going to go Northwest, and they will play UNLV for a very, very sizable amount of territory. Wow, this is a really big game for both teams. Arizona State will be on the road. Where are the Sun Devils? Past them. This giant, just infinite seeming wheel of teams is kind of annoying at sometimes. Occasionally it's annoying. There's UNLV. Arizona State has the better overall team by 4. Their offense is a good bit better. Their defense is just a little bit better. We'll see, though. This game's being played in the Roomba. Jalen Daniels. Man, I think he's pretty good. He could be very good, but I don't think he's stayed healthy. It would be awesome to see Kansas play a full season with him.
This coin toss presented by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
Allegiant Stadium with their awful, awful turf field. I'm sure that'll be great for the Super Bowl. Here we go. For dang near the whole Southwest. UNLV 7-0. Arizona State ties it up 7-all. UNLV 14-7. End of the first half 14-7 UNLV. Nevada tied up 21-all. 21-all. I cannot talk right now. Now 20-21 Arizona State, they hang on to it. UNLV cannot get in the end zone near the end of the game. It was a turnover on downs for UNLV after an 11-yard pickup, and then Jaden Rashada just kneed it out. Wow. Really good game right there. 28-21 final. Arizona State wins. And they, with one win, have taken over almost all of Utah, a good bit of Colorado, and a good bit of Nevada. Dang. Arizona State dominating in their region. I don't know if it's just luck or if they're actually good, because they were one of the worst Power 5 teams in this past season. So there we go. Gigantic Arizona State is not something I thought I'd be saying in this series. Just a quick recap, I think. I'll do what I can. In this episode, we had Cal Berkeley beat SJSU. Arizona State beat UNLV, who beat Colorado. Iowa State took down Nebraska. Houston beat Louisiana. Arkansas beat Arkansas State. South Carolina beat UAB. Wisconsin beat Central Michigan. North Carolina beat Virginia and Virginia Tech. Pitt beat Navy. No, Boston College beat Navy, and Pitt beat Maryland. I think that's it. I think that's it. Anyway, a very, very good episode. Lots of things happened. Lots of teams gained a lot of territory. And with that said, until the next one, make sure you like, subscribe, comment. I read every single comment. And we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. So close. Just hit that one button, costs you nothing, and it supports me, and yeah. Anyway, until the next one, peace.